So 4 years in somebody's life can make a big difference. But for John Lennon by 1969, I can only tell the truth. He was a wife abuser. He was cheating on Cynthia with everybody from Joan Baez to the journalists to thousands of groupies on the road. He basically admitted it later on. But by 1969, he was heavy into the peace movement just before the Beatles broke up. And this song is probably his most famous peace song, an anti-war song called Give Peace a Chance, originally credited to Lennon and McCartney, but the lyrics over the years, McCartney was dropped, went to Yoko Ono because everything Lennon did was Lennon McCartney, everything McCartney did was Lennon McCartney. It was recorded with the participation of a small group of friends in a performance with Yoko Ono at a hotel room in Montreal. Released as a single in July 1969 by the Plastic Ono Band on Apple, is the first solo single issued by Lennon, released while he was still a member of the Beatles. It began an anthem of the American anti-war movement during the 1970s. It peaked at number 14 on the Hot 100 and number 2 in Britain. Back with Remember Love, which is sort of an inside catch in a movie called Almost Famous. The song was written during Lennon and Ono's bed-in honeymoon in Montreal. When asked by a reporter what he was trying to achieve by staying in bed, Leonard answered spontaneously, "Just give peace a chance." He went on to say this several times during this bed-in. Lennon also asked his press officer, Derek Taylor, to find a recording engineer, which is very easy in Montreal. The song is about 5 minutes and was recorded on the 1st of June 1969 in room 1742 at the Queen Elizabeth Hotel in Montreal, which was also the home, actually, of the NHL draft, I think, that year. Andre Perry, owner of a local recording studio, arrived and used a simple setup of 4 microphones and a 4-track tape recorder he brought with him. The recording session was attended by dozens of journalists and various celebrities, including Timothy Leary, Rabbi Abraham Feinberg, Joseph Schwartz, Rosemary Woodruff Leary, Petula Clark, Dick Gregory, Allen Ginsberg, Roger Scott, Murray Decay, and Derek Taylor, many of whom are mentioned in the lyrics. There was always also, I guess, some members of the local Hare Krishna were around. Leonard played acoustic guitar and was joined by Tommy Smothers, of all people, of the Smothers Brothers, also an acoustic guitar. Of course, he had a falling out with his brother years later, but that's another story. The day after recording, Perry engaged and recorded 3 professional singers from Montreal to add background vocals to production, among them Mouffe and, of all people, Robert Charlebois, who was a famous pop star in Quebec and in France. Some years later, Perry recalled the occasion and spoke up the challenges of getting a good sound of a recording. Because of the room's poor acoustics, he said the raw recording could not have been released without help. Originally, there was no intention to have any overdubs, but then I left John. He looked at me and said, "Well, I'll go back to the studio, listen to this, and see what I like." And I decided the background was a bit too noisy and needed a little sweeping. By this I mean we kept all original stuff. We just improved it a bit by adding, if you like, some voices. So we called a bunch of people in the studio that night. That was my decision. And that's probably why John gave me such a credit on the single. And since it was multi-track, I dubbed the original 4-track to an 8-track machine and then used the other 4 tracks to overdub some vocals. The next day I went back to John with the mix. They moved everybody out of the room and it was just the 3 of us with Yoko. And I played it for him and he thought it was wonderful. Kept it as it is. There's a story going around about overdubbing in London. Nothing was overdubbed in England. The only thing that was overdubbed, like I said, is some of these people. And the reason why I did it is I wanted to give them some kind of option. You see, the point of the matter is not that we wanted to cheat anything. It was a question of not usable. The condition was absolutely terrible. We took the original stuff that was there and added a few voices in a cleaner recording environment. Now, initially released in 1969, it was credited to Lennon and McCartney. On later releases, curated by Lennon Estate, only Lennon is credited. As part of the reissue of his 1986 album Live in New York City, the 2006 documentary The U.S. versus John Lennon, and the 1997 compilation album Lennon Legend, The Very Best of John Lennon, the DVD version, 6 years later. John Lennon expressed his regrets about being guilty enough to give McCartney credit as co-writer of my first independent single instead of giving it to Yoko, who had actually written it with me. According to author Ian MacDonald, the credit was Lennon's way of thanking McCartney for helping record the Ballad of John and Yoko at short notice. But technically, it is a Lennon Yoko song. There's no way to deny it because Yoko was having a big influence. As for lyrics, the original last verse of the song refers to John and Yoko, Timmy Leary, Rosemary Leary, Tommy Smothers, Bobby Dylan, Tommy Cooper, Derek Taylor, Norman Mailer, Allen Ginsberg, and Harry Krishna. In the performance of Give Peace a Chance, included on the Live Peace in Toronto '69 album, Lennon openly stated he could not remember all the words and improvised with the names of the band's members, sharing the stage with him and anything that came to mind. John and Yoko, Eric Clapton, Claus Vorman, Penny Lane, Roosevelt, Nixon, Tommy Jones and Tommy Cooper, and somebody. The third verse contained his reference to masturbation, but Lennon changed this to mastication on the official lyric sheet. He later stated it was a cop-out, but wanted to avoid unnecessary controversy. Now, Give Peace a Chance, back when Ono's Remember Love as the B-side, released on Independence Day '69 UK and in July 7th in the States. Song number 2 in UK, number 14 Billboard, who described it as an infectious rhythm ballad with clever arrangement and performance. The song quickly became the anthem of the anti-Vietnam War and counterculture movements. It was sung by 500,000 demonstrators in Washington, D.C. on Vietnam Moratorium Day on 15 November '69. They were led by Pete Seeger, who interspersed phrases like, "Are you listening, Nixon? Are you listening, Agnew?" between the choruses of poor protesters singing, "All we are saying is give peace a chance." A live concert performance of the song is included Live Peace in Toronto, and John, Yoko, and the Elephant Memory also performed the song, of all things, the Jerry Lewis MDA Telethon in September '72. The British group Yes also paid tribute to Lennon's words on their '71 release, the Yes album, In Your Move. Now, after being issued as a single, it appeared on the album in a truncated form for the singles compilation Shave Fish in '75. The track's first full-length album appearance was in the '82 compilation, the John Lennon Collection, 2 years after his passing. Although technically the first solo single released by a member of the Beatles while the band was still active, the artist's credit was to the Plastic Ono Band and John Lennon. Shortly after Lennon's '80 murder, fans gathered around the Dakota and sang this touching song. The single recharted the UK in January '81, peaking at number 33. The song is one of the 3 John Lennon singles as a solo artist, along with Instant Karma and Imagine, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. Now, on March 4, 2022, 150 European public radio stations broadcast a song for peace against the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine. And on March 8, 2,000 European private radio stations did the same. The Rockin' 1000 performed the song at the opening and the final of the Eurovision Song Contest 2022, also in reaction to an invasion. Now, John Lennon, lead vocals, acoustic guitar, Tommy Smothers, acoustic guitar, Yoko and others, hand claps, tambourine, backing vocals. Officially, Timothy Leary and Petula Clark, backing vocals. Don't know why Petula was there. Somebody can fill that in. And Andrew Perry in percussion and production. So Austria number 2, Belgium number 2, Canada top 8, Germany number 4, Netherlands went to number 1, Norway number 11, Switzerland number 4, UK number 2, Billboard Hot 114, Cashbox Top 100. Now, in 1991, Ono recorded a new version of the song as well as a music video in response to the imminent Gulf War. Accompanying musicians for this peace choir gathering was Amina Adamant, Sebastian Bach, Bro, Felix Calaveri, Terence Trent D'Arby, Flea, John Frusciante, Peter Gabriel, Kadeem Hardison, Afra Haza, Joe Higgs, Bruce Hornsby, Lee Jaffe, Al Jarreau, Jazzy B, Davy Johnstone, Lenny Kravitz, Cyndi Lauper, Sean Ono Lennon, Little Richard, LL Cool J, MC Hammer, Mike McDonald, Duff McKagan, Alana Miles, New Voices of Freedom, Randy Newman, Tom Petty, Iggy Pop, Q-Tip, Bonnie Raitt, Run, Dave Stewart, Tina Marie, Little Stevie Van Zandt, Don Was, Wendy and Lisa, Apnet Zappa, Dweezil Zappa, and Moon Unit Zappa again as the peace choir. Now this won 54 in the States and top 7 in Switzerland. Didn't chart. Yoko Ono also did a version on the 39th anniversary of the song's recording. It only went number 2 in the global dance charts. Now, as for different covers through the years, obviously Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr have even incorporated the song with their live performance as a tribute to Lennon. Ringo Starr and his all-star band often performed the song as an encore after What'll Help With My Friends, while McCartney has often performed a medley of the song, combined with A Day in the Life since his 2009 live album, Good Evening New York, including for most of his up-and-coming tour. He also performed on Saturday Night Live on 11 December 2010. U2 have performed the song in concert at least 27 times. As a whole, or as a snippet, the first time in December 1980. The song has been used in films, TV shows, and theater, has been a recognized semiotic to indicate protests. For example, it was sung by students in the 1974 film The Trial of Billy Jack and the peace activists in the 1996 film Pretty Village. Hot Chocolate also released the song as their debut single on the Apple label as Hot Chocolate in a reggae version in October 1969. Mitch Miller and the Gang did a version. Aerosmith, Elton John, Joni Mitchell, Louis Armstrong, Pearl Jam, Madonna, Stevie Wonder, Bill Frisell, Aftermath, the heavy metal band, again, Rockin' 1000. There's also been versions of this in Russian. And it was released in Russia by Russian artists, again in response to the 2022, what I call World War II and a half for the Ukraine-Russian war. So, ladies and gentlemen, John Lennon, the intentions were there to be a better person. Like I said, we all can change, anybody can change. But Cynthia Lennon said in her book, he said, where was this good John Lennon 4 years ago? Because he fucked around Cynthia quite a bit. And like I said, it was a different time. You could fuck around your woman and be forgiven for it. I don't think in 2025 there's much give and take. Because the American aspect of that, forgiveness is a Canadian trait. Forgiveness is not an American trait. It's considered strength in here, but in States it's considered a weakness. Because I can't forgive the States for what the bullshit they've been putting in. I know what John Lennon would say, I didn't come to Canada, I couldn't do this in the States, I could only do this in Canada. And when he was living in New York City, that's not like a country to itself. That's not even to me America, that's New York City. New York City should have its own country. Because it's diverse just like Canada. That's my personal opinion. I don't even think they're part of the States. Because they have their own stuff going on. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're liking what they're doing and buying the tracks with our Beatles or Beatles solo projects, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.